Most problems that we come into with Dungeon Dragons, we say to handle before they become problems. That's actually bad wording. So most of the issues you're going to have as a dungeon master are because you didn't do something in the beginning. We didn't set the appropriate expectation. We didn't have a session zero. We weren't involved in character creation. We weren't involved in discussing what to expect from the type of game we're having. Those aren't handling problems. Those are the things that create the problems that we have to handle later on. And so we don't want to get bogged down into semantics. The bottom line is that the problems you will experience inevitably in being a dungeon master are talked about all over the internet. And there are lots of ways to deal with them after they've occurred. And we talk about that. There's in-game solutions, there's out-of-game solutions, there's having a conversation like adults. God forbid we do that. But there's also just getting better at setting the appropriate expectations at the beginning of your game. I don't have a whole lot of problems hit my table anymore, ever. Whether I'm dungeon mastering for teenagers or whether it's DMing for adults, my friends, online, paid games, I set the expectation well before we play of what type of game we're playing, what I expect from my players, and how the game's going to go. And because of that, very rarely do I run into problems. And then when some problems do arrive, like we approach a subject where one of my players is uncomfortable with and they send me a message, I make the change. It's not a big deal. Very rarely does it cause the campaign to derail in any major shape or form. I just simply make the change and we move on with life. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect the game. It doesn't affect the other players. It's a simple message between the two of us. I make a small tweak, make a small change, and voila, we're done. Nothing is really a problem when you don't approach it as one. It could be something as simple as, hey, this is happening and I don't know how to handle it. How do I handle it? How do I make it so everyone has fun? How do I make it so I have fun dealing with power gamers and dealing with metagaming and those kinds of things? But in the end, those are only problems unless we let it. The only problem that we ever have is when players take fun away from other players, or the dungeon master takes fun away from someone else. We'll always have conflict. It's part of human nature. But when we're removing someone else's fun, that's really the only problem we have to deal with. Those are so specific and so table dependent, there's no good general advice for those. All the other stuff, all the other thought experiments, they're good to understand. They're good to know, hey, these are things I should be aware of in a future game. If this does happen, here are some tools to fix it. Here are some tools to use if I happen to have it to me regularly. Like if I'm always having problems with power gamers, where do I nut that off in the head, right? How do I get ahead of that? And that's what we're talking about. It's about knowledge. It's not about handling it. It's about learning how the table develops. That's really